I'm a software engineer from Seattle. I'm 28, single, and work for an IT company that develops software for medical institutions. I won't name it, not because I'm fired, but because I don't need legal trouble. Technically, I still work there, just remotely now. It all started about 8 months ago. Our team was working on a major contract for a large clinic in New York, a new patient portal, dozens of integrations, strict security protocols. Deadlines were brutal, so all through fall and half of winter, I was practically living at the office, 10 to 12 hours a day. We rented 2 floors in a sleek glass building downtown, with huge floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the bay and Mount Rainier, open space, meeting rooms, fully stocked kitchen. During the day, sunlight poured in. At night, city lights shimmered on the glass, and after midnight, there was only black water outside and the faint glow of boats drifting into the dark. I always thought big windows were a blessing. They made the place feel open, free, especially when you sit behind a screen all day. When I got overwhelmed, I'd step out onto the balcony, look at the water, breathe, calm down. I never thought those same windows would one day become the reason I still flinch whenever I see my own reflection in the dark. That evening, I had to stay especially late. We'd found a critical bug in the authorization module and needed an urgent fix. By 10 p.m., everyone else had gone home. Kids, plans, lives. I stayed. I live alone, so I thought, I'll just finish this tonight. Tomorrow will be easier. The building's night admin dimmed half the lights to save energy. Company policy. Only soft light and monitor glow remained. The vents whispered faintly, and every 30 minutes, something clicked upstairs. I never figured out what. I sat with my back to the window. It made it easier to see the team chat on the big screen. Lo-fi music played quietly in the background. Around 11, my brain stopped cooperating. The code wouldn't compile, and my eyes burned. I stood up, stretched, grabbed a bottle of water, and walked to the window. Outside was pure darkness. The bay invisible, clouds thick, rain tapping the sill. In the glass, I saw my reflection. Messy hair, tired eyes, a University of Washington t-shirt. Everything was perfectly ordinary. I smiled at my reflection, one of those hang in there smiles, and froze. The reflection smiled back half a second late. At first, I couldn't even pinpoint what bothered me. Maybe my mind was playing tricks. I blinked, shook my head, rubbed my eyes, stepped closer. Now everything seemed synchronized. I lifted my hand. It did the same. I tapped the glass. Silence. You're just exhausted, I told myself. Brain's glitching. I went back to my desk, poured more coffee, and kept coding. By 1 a.m., the bug was fixed and tests passed. I packed up, turned off the lights, and as I passed the window, I glanced at it again. My reflection moved normally. I exhaled with relief. A few nights later, it happened again. This time, there were 3 of us working late. Me, my coworker Max, and our tester David. They left around 11. I stayed to finish a few minor fixes. It was raining again, the building quiet. Only the sound of my keyboard and the coffee machine hissing somewhere far away. I went to the bathroom, splashed my face with cold water, and on the way back, paused by the window to take in the city view. I smiled, winked, raised my hand, like before. The reflection copied me. I was about to turn away when it raised the opposite hand. I lifted my right, it lifted its left. I scratched my chin, it touched its jaw. Then came that delay again, half a second late. And a faint smirk, like it was amused. A chill crawled up my spine. I stepped back, checked the other windows. Nothing. Looked around. No one. Maybe it was light from another building? But every other office was dark. We rented the top floor. I pulled out my phone, opened the camera, pointed it at the glass. On screen, everything was perfectly normal. I raised my hand. The reflection matched me, no delay, no grin. Just normal. I lowered the phone, and the lag returned. That's when I realized maybe something was wrong with my eyes. Or my nerves. I laughed nervously. It was easier than thinking. Still, unease lingered. That night I went home and checked my reflection in the bathroom mirror. Normal. I crawled into bed, left the TV on for noise, tried to distract myself. But my mind kept replaying the image of that delayed smile. I finally fell asleep around 4 a.m., whispering to myself, just fatigue. For the next few days, I avoided windows at night. If I worked late, I'd sit in a conference room with no windows or keep my back turned. But the urge to test it, the creeping paranoia, it wouldn't go away. I felt stupid. 28 years old, a grown man, scared of his own reflection? Ridiculous. I told Max, half joking. We were eating cold pizza in the kitchen. Dude, I said, weird thing happened. I was standing by the window and my reflection lagged. Even raised the wrong hand. He shrugged. Man, you're fried. My brain does that too sometimes. Once I swore my keyboard was typing by itself. We laughed. I agreed, stress, burnout, whatever. But deep down, I wanted someone else to see it too, to prove it wasn't just in my head. A few nights later, I got my chance. Max stayed late and I offered pizza and coffee, the classic bribe. Around 11, he went to smoke on the covered parking deck, leaving me alone. I stared at the window, heartbeat quickening. Okay, I thought, let's see. I stepped closer, took a breath, looked straight ahead. The reflection moved normally, maybe a slight lag, nothing creepy. I lifted both hands, scratched my head. Perfectly fine. Relief washed over me. See? You're fine, I told myself. Then it frowned on its own and knocked on the glass. I froze. My hands hung at my sides. It lifted one hand and slowly dragged its fingers across the inside of the window. And I heard it. A faint tap, like someone knocking from the other side. My breath caught. I stumbled backward, tripping over a chair. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might burst. Max rushed back in. Dude, what the hell? He asked, staring at me. Did you hear that? I pointed at the window. He tapped the glass. Hear what? Echo, probably. Relax. Double panes, that's normal. He shrugged. You want more coffee? I didn't answer. What could I say? My reflection knocked first. He'd think I'd lost it. That night I called a cab home instead of walking. Over the next few weeks, the reflection felt independent. Roughly 1 out of 3 late nights, I'd see that same lag, that crooked grin, sometimes even a blink that wasn't mine. I started testing. Different windows, same floor, same effect. 1 floor down, where it was brighter, nothing. The roof had no windows. I Googled everything. Reflection delay at night windows, double pane optical lag, tired eyes illusion. I found technical stuff about multiple reflections between panes, how light angles can create ghost images. But nothing explained movements I didn't make. I even saw an optometrist. Dr. Henderson ran all the tests, vision, peripheral response, eye strain. He said I had mild dryness and muscle fatigue from screen time. Use these drops, take breaks, get more rest. I did all that. The unease stayed. Then I told my therapist. Yes, I see a therapist weekly. No shame in that. I said I'd been seeing delayed reflections. We talked about stress, perfectionism, sleep deprivation. She said sometimes the brain fills in reality when it's overworked. Made sense, but I still wasn't calm. The turning point came in December. The project was wrapping up. We were polishing the final build. Most of the team went to a bar for a small holiday party. I skipped it, not in the mood, still had a few tickets to close. By midnight, I was alone again. Snow was falling outside, wet and heavy. City lights blurred through it. I walked up to the window, half daring whatever was there to show itself. I stared for nearly 2 minutes. Everything mirrored perfectly. I relaxed, even smiled at how paranoid I'd been. I turned to leave, then froze. My reflection's lips were moving. I wasn't speaking, but it was. I couldn't hear a sound, of course the glass, but I could see its mouth forming words. Quick, soft, but distinct. I'm not good at reading lips, but it looked like look or careful. Cold panic hit me. I whipped around. No one behind me, no light from other floors. I looked back. The lips had stopped. I stepped closer, almost pressing my forehead to the glass. And that's when I saw it. Behind my reflection, inside the darkness, stood someone else. A vague shape, blurred but solid. Eyes open, staring at me. And when it realized I could see it, it lifted its hand and slammed it against the glass from the inside. The sound was loud this time. Real. I screamed, stumbled back, crashed into a table. My hands shaking, I grabbed my phone, switched to video mode. On screen, everything looked normal. Just me, my reflection. But when I looked with my eyes, the shadow was still there. Standing, watching, maybe even smiling. I turned off the lights, hoping darkness would reveal something. The window became a black mirror, only a faint emergency light visible. The figure vanished. I flipped the lights back on, gone. I ran to the elevator, leaving my jacket, my bag, everything. The night guard looked up, startled. You okay, Alex? You look pale. I thought I heard something upstairs, I stammered. Nobody up there but you, he said. Want me to check? No, it's fine. Outside, the wind was icy. My hands shook the whole cab ride home. The next morning, Max called. You okay? You left your session open last night. I lied, said I'd gotten sick and gone home. Took a few days off for recovery. At home, I kept the curtains closed. I didn't want to see any reflections. I told myself this couldn't go on. The next day, I went to my doctor. I told him everything. The lag, the knocking, the shadow, the words. He asked about family history, drugs, sleep. He said it sounded like acute stress with sleep deprivation and prescribed mild sedatives, therapy, and rest. I agreed. Better to think I'm burned out than haunted. I followed every rule, turned off notifications after 8 p.m., deleted Slack from my phone, took yoga classes. My girlfriend Amy helped. She made dinner plans, took my phone away at night, made sure I didn't open my laptop. Slowly, the anxiety faded. I could look in a mirror again and see only myself. As for the windows, the message never reappeared. Sometimes, late at night, I'd test myself. Pull back the curtain, face the glass. My shadow stared back, maybe a fraction of a delay. I'd whisper, just double glazing, and step away. I went back to the office a week later. Since then, I've never stayed past 10. Neither has anyone else, it seems. Maybe management enforced it, Maybe rumors spread. By spring, we'd moved to a new building, a brick loft with smaller windows and heavy curtains. Nothing strange since. But sometimes, walking past a store window at night, I catch that half-second lag in my reflection, and my heart skips. I look away and walk faster. A photographer friend once told me about ghost reflections, when light bounces between layers of glass. It's called multiple reflection, he said. Looks like a second figure. And what about words? Like fogged letters, I asked. He shrugged. Condensation, maybe? Moisture between panes? I still don't know what it was. Maybe just fatigue, stress, an optical illusion. Maybe not. But now I always close my curtains when it gets dark. And if you're ever alone in an office at night and your reflection doesn't quite move the way you do, just go home. Don't wait to find out how far it's willing to go. Things are quiet now. I work from home, walk Amy's dog in the evenings, read before bed. I rarely stare at screens after 10. Sometimes I think about posting this on R No Sleep. But then I remember, sleep is the best defense against whatever's out there in the dark.